you can see today we're going to be talking about now is the time to start. Now, folks, we know that it seems as though that we're in a crisis here in America, and but that's not just here in the U.S. It's all around the world. But guess what? Healthcare is blowing and going, and we're going to be talking to you about our award-winning software that we have that's completely 100% HIPAA compliant. It's 100% completely online, as you can see here, the iClaim and the EMRX platform. We're also going to be talking to you about the entire services of everything that we have here at American Business Systems. So you can see here, we've got all these different suites of services, but we've had to actually add a couple of more little boxes that we don't even have on our new logos and everything else here, because as times change and as the markets change, we actually have to do some different things. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that as we go forward today. I'm going to introduce you to Patrick Phillips. He is the CEO, the founder of American Business Systems. You see him here with his wife, Linda Phillips, and they've been around since 1994. And we are the nation's largest group of independent medical billers. Patrick has been a best-selling author, and we're going to be talking about that book in the middle, The New Thriving Medical Practice, as we kind of go through here today. He's also a member of the editorial board for the BC Medical Billing magazine. And Patrick, let's get started here. We got lots of stuff to do. We've got a lot of questions to get answered today, so we're going to just have fun here. I've got a few more minutes, and I might be able to pull that back from you here, but until then, we'll just let you keep driving there a little bit for me.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, people will never know behind the scenes what strings we pull to make sure this thing comes off, because it is live, folks, and that's why we pointed you to the question box, because now that you know where it's at, you use that to actually interact with us during this webinar. Anything you type in there, we're going to respond to it, unless you said something you shouldn't have said, and then we'll just ignore you. Other than that, it's live. And, you know, we live in a new world, Eric. You obviously are working right there from your home office. I have a home office here. We have offices here in the South Lake area of Texas, which is a, you know, suburb of Dallas-Fort Worth out by the airport. But nowadays, you know, you stay at home, and we're staying at home, as you can see. And hey, I found a picture that I just have to show, because this kind of illustrates that if you're working from home, you might want to tie up and gag your 3 boys on the floor there. Can you imagine a woman not having a private space that she could go to and work, and have 3 looks like teenage boys there? So anyway, I thought that was funny. Eric, I don't know if you saw this. We haven't even talked about this. This just came out, what, yesterday, March 31st? Yeah. And this is from the healthcare blog out there. As you can see, it says immediate changes needed for physicians to stay in business during the pandemic.
Yes.
Look at that subtitle. Practices cannot survive the COVID-19 cash flow crisis.
Yes.
That's what we need to start calling this, Eric, for doctors. It's a cash flow crisis.
Yeah, you're right. And so, folks, what's happening here is a dynamic that's occurring, a huge dynamic in the way that doctors, and I think that we'll all see how medicine is going to be conducted from here on out. We've known that we've had telehealth and telemedicine around, but this is forcing doctors to have to go to different things here. And I think we're going to see a different way in which doctors are going to do business, because they're having to do that right now. And that's the great thing, Patrick, is that we're on the cutting and bleeding edge, as you would always say, in some of the things that we've got here for our licensees.
Boy, you talk about bleeding edge right now. This is it, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, I just went to full screen here and lost complete control of my mouse, so I'm going back. Yeah, okay.
Patrick,
I was just going to zoom in on that so that I could let me make it bigger here. Yeah. Yep. So as you can see, it says, will doctors be able to keep their practices open during the worst pandemic in our lifetime? Our country needs every available doctor in the country to fight the challenges of COVID-19. Doctors working in independent practices face an immediate cash flow crisis threatening their ability to continue services. Eric, that's why we call this today, right? The now is the perfect time to start a healthcare business because, folks, as you can see, it doesn't get any more up to date than what you're reading right here. If you're considering getting into your own business of any kind, and I know you've looked at a dozen at least out there on the internet, think seriously about healthcare. It's going to be around a long time.
I think, and I think, Patrick, you and I have talked about in other webinars that when there are disruptions in the marketplace, and obviously this is an incredible disruption in the marketplace, provides new opportunities for those who are entrepreneurs. And, we've survived, gosh, all the different things that we've had in the past, from doctors get into EMR and which EMR is going to be the right one, and ours is still here, it's still surviving. And I think, as we've kind of already hinted here, we already have a telehealth platform that our licensees are starting to use already. This one's going to be here for a long time. And so, folks, as we as a company see changes in the marketplace, we're adding things currently to what we're already doing. So it's really, really going to help these doctors, because some of their volume has gone down, but they still have sick patients, and the patients want to see the doctor, but they don't want to go to the office. So putting them on a video chat like Patrick and I are doing, we're able to do that, and we're doing it, being able to do it very well and HIPAA compliant. That's the big thing, Patrick.
Yes. Eric, I don't know if you still have that email where we sent out this link. I was going to put the link to this. If you could go find that link and put it over there in the chat thing where it'll show up in the question box for everybody. I think it'd be an interesting article for them to read, because, folks, this just gets right down to the nitty gritty of what's going on right now. Now, we also have shown this book in the past. I have it here on my shelf somewhere, but guys, this is pretty recent here. This is a book that's actually published by, what did I do with that magazine? Here it is, Entrepreneur Magazine. Yeah, they've been around for 100 years at least. You can find this on any shelf in any bookstore right now. This is the March edition right here. It just came out. And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is pretty authoritative, wouldn't you say, Eric, when it comes to business stuff?
You bet.
Look at this is a book that they published called Start Your Own Medical Claims Billing Service. Well, that's the business we're in. In fact, they actually mention us in the book. We didn't even know that until we bought this book ourselves and looked in the back of it in the index there under business opportunities. You'll see our name there, although it's got an old address. The point is, folks, that this is as real a business as it gets. As long as there's human beings that get sick and go to the doctor, I think this business will be around a while, helping doctors, do their billing.
Yeah, I'm about to put that link over into the chat area. I think that's where it's going to go for everybody, and I'm also going to put it in here to the question box there. I'm not sure which one it goes out to, but I'm sending this to everybody there, so everybody should have that. Patrick, I actually have the slide deck open over here if you'd like for me to pull it over if you want.
All right, let's see. Can you change the presenter there to you?
Yep, absolutely.
All right. We're switching slides here. Now, folks, this is how recent and up-to-date this is. We're about to show you a slide here. I think it's in your deck, Eric. But anyway, it's on Medical Claims Processing Services Market Overview for 2020. And it says that this is going to be a big, big market. Yeah, there it is right there. Now, this was just in January of this year, as you can see. And it says the rapid growth in the healthcare sector has also led to increasing numbers of medical insurances, and in-house processing of insurance claims may lead to high operational costs. So you see how this ties in with that previous article about cash flow crisis for doctors. It's because if they're doing their own billing in-house using their own people, their own software, they have a huge overhead. You'll see that here in a second as we show some costs behind this.
Yes, absolutely. And these we put out here so often, and sometimes we kind of glaze over these, but these are still numbers that are valid, because again, we're connected at the hip really with all of our licensees that are out there, and they're saying the same exact things as what we're looking at right here, is that the amount of money that's being wasted upon claims that are being rejected or administrative costs, all of these are still valid right here that we're kind of showing you right now.
Yeah, I mean, look at this, folks. When it talks about the rejected claims, that means the initial claims that are sent in by the doctor's practice. About 34% of those are rejected by the insurance companies. Now, the reason that happens is because of human errors and clearinghouses that don't know what they're doing, all kinds of things. But we can get that down with our online cloud-based system to less than 2%. That's our nationwide average of those initial rejected claims, 2%. Now, the difference there means money in the doctor's pocket. You can give that money to the doctor by doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the other thing is that doctors that are still looking to outsource their billing is still increasing. And this is according to Black Book rankings. Now, I think what we're going to see, Patrick, here is actually a higher increase now, because let's just think logically what's happening. Some doctor's office are having to let maybe some of their folks go because of a lack of volume right now. Doctors are still trying to think about how they're going to survive. And so now is an incredible opportunity for you to lead in with some of the leading technology that we have right now to talk with these doctors and begin in helping them understand that they've really never needed to do billing in-house like that they've done it in the past. So they don't have to have their billing staff employed by them. I think this is a great opportunity right now that we're going to start to see, Patrick. We're going to start to see some practices start thinking, maybe I should have outsourced my billing a long time ago.
Yeah. And if you're wondering, folks, this is the type of business that we teach about a dozen different ways as to how we have found over the last 26 years of doing this business, how to approach doctors. Many of those ways have nothing to do with face-to-face contact.
Yeah.
Now, there are licensees who've gone out and went door to door at doctors' offices and picked up their business card and, left some literature or something. But in today's world, we don't have to do that. It's called social distancing marketing, and we're already teaching courses on that subject to our licensees.
Right. Yep, you bet. And,
well, look at this. Oh, sorry, Eric. I wanted to mention that slide that we put up there, that 42% of all doctors are thinking about outsourcing their billing in the next 12 months. Eric, that's a huge number. It's like it's almost the other half that now in-house do their in-house billing. They're seeking to outsource it because there are doctors, of course, who've already outsourced it. Well, guess what? Our licensees are actually signing up those doctors as well, because those doctors are not happy with their current billing company because, well, they don't have the leading technology that we have. They don't have a cloud-based system. They have a server-based system. They're using a clearinghouse that they chose on their own that may or may not be giving them a rejection rate of 2% or less like we do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And it shows here, again, the estimated amount of money that is wasted on administrative costs and billing expenses is up to 24 cents per claim. And folks, again, if you think about that, for a $100 claim, that's 24% that's being wasted on who knows what it could be upon. And if you think about it, you're going to be charging that doctor anywhere from 6, 7 to 8% to do their billing and eliminate a lot of that money that is what they say is wasted money.
Yeah, we'll show you exactly what a doctor spends that money on here in a couple of slides, but look at this next slide. This is talking about a doctor who says it costs him about $20 per claim to have those done in-house. That's his administrative fees to collect that particular claim. Now, Eric, I don't know about you, but 20% of, say, a $100 claim, just using round numbers here, 20%, he's paying 20% of that out to his own staff. And, he's got software costs and hardware and IT support and all that other stuff that they don't need when they outsource it to someone like you. We can teach you how to do this for doctors, and have for the last 26 years, people from coast to coast, from every possible background. And Eric, as you know, most of them had no background or training in the medical billing field at all.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you're going to see in today's webinar the supportive mechanisms that we have out there for you to get right involved with getting involved with the doctors, getting involved with them with certain technology, and supporting of that technology. Just again, blows anything else that anybody else has really out of the water. And Patrick, you'd mentioned about in-house billing versus outsourcing. So why don't you kind of talk through this chart here real quickly?
Yeah, and let me just mention, folks, that that chart may be hard for you to see, especially if you're on your phone, of course, but on some devices, you may have a smaller window. If you look around in your interface here for GoToWebinar, there's probably a way to make that full screen so you can really see it. And Eric, why don't we do this? I'm gonna go ahead and print these out, all of these slides, and put them in the handouts over there so that they can refer back to these charts. But in brief, what you're looking at there is what it would cost a doctor to do billing in-house. That's the first column, versus the outsource, what they may pay you to do it. Now, I mean, it's only what we base this on 6% based on $100 claims. The doctor just doing 400 claims a month. That's what, about 20 a day. But the point is, look at the huge difference at the bottom line down there. It's 46% less expensive for the doctor to outsource it to an expert like you. And you will be the expert after you go through our training.
Exactly. Yeah, so as Patrick is going to put the whole slide deck in a PDF, we're going to drop it over into your handouts here in just a moment. And also, folks, we're 20 minutes into the webinar, so feel free to ask us any questions. And I see one from David, and David's asking if any of our doctors or hospitals need some masks. I don't know of any because, again, ABS doesn't do billing, and so, but we could certainly put the word out to some of our medical billing companies that are associated with American Business Systems as licensees. We could certainly ask them, and if you've got a source or a resource, obviously we can. That's good to know, especially in this time of this crisis of the lack of mask and everything else that's going on. So I appreciate David putting that in there. But for the rest of you, and David, you as well, if you get any questions pertaining to the webinar and pertaining to certain key elements that we're talking about here, again, this is your webinar, so just ask us any questions. Again, like David just asked, ask us any questions, and we'll be sure to get to those questions and answer those questions as we kind of go through the presentation today. What we're going to talk to you about now is, again, what you're able and capable of making. So if you haven't gone to our website, go to absystems.com, go up under where it says income potential. You'll see that right along the title bar right there. And you see about us, business package, and income potential. And then we land right on the medical billing income calculator. You'll see that you can put the number of doctors that you possibly want to do some billing for, the average number of patients that they see in a day, which is about 25, the average numbers of days that they're open, which is obviously, again, 5. And remember earlier I said about you're going to be charging the doctor about 6% of an average claim of $100. And Patrick, when we take that and we crunch those numbers down and we hit submit, then that's going to show you that with a potential one doctor can generate about $3,250 per month in income. And I'd like to add one more thing, and that is working about 2 hours a day or less, really about 2 hours a day or less, just doing the billing for that one office.
Yeah.
In this, Patrick, if you think about it, in this crucial time, instead of someone going out and getting a part-time job somewhere else, if they're able to do this, build their business on the side and continue to keep doing what they're doing, they may be able to find themselves being able to work for themselves from home instead of having to leave their home and go and work somewhere else.
And they too can tie up their kids and put some tape over their mouths if they need to. Hey, you know what, Eric? For some people, that is a full-time income. I mean, a lot of people don't make $3,000, $3,200 a month. So, folks, this is something you have to do in your own head. How many doctors can I do the billing for? Well, if it takes a couple of hours a day to do one, then you could do what, 4 doctors? So take that figure, that average monthly figure, and multiply that times 4.
Right.
This is the annual. So if you multiply that 39,000 times 4, Eric, there's that magical 6-figure income that everybody talks about. You can do that still working from your home, folks. And the great thing is this business can be run from anywhere. Literally, we have a couple that has an RV and they have a satellite on top of it, and they go down the road and, you know, he's driving and she's back in the back doing the medical billing. It's just an incredible business. We've had licensees say they've gone to Hawaii for 2 or 3 weeks and worked from the beach there, because as long as you have a Wi-Fi connection, you can do this and nobody will ever know where you're at in the world doing it.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. Boris is asking a question of how compatible is your billing platform with other EHR softwares? It's very compatible, because through what's called an HL7 connection. So if we're doing the billing with iClaim and the doctors still want to use their own EMR system that they want to be able to use, there is an interface that's between our system and their system. And pretty much all billing software now and EHRs, especially if it's a web-based system, Boris, has what's called this HL7 interface that can happen. So, you know, when they make appointments in the iClaim practice management system, obviously it can reflect back into that doctor's EHR. Now, with that said, you'll see here in a little bit that obviously you're going to want to eventually to be able to guarantee these doctors to have less than a 2% rejection rate. You're really going to want to end up moving them from their EHR to, you know, the EMRX platform. So, but we teach you how to do that. You don't need, some doctors are ready to change right now. But again, we've worked with all different types of practices, all different specialties. Some want to move quickly, some don't have to move so quickly, but it's very, very flexible. Patrick, let's talk about who Myrma is, what Myrma does, and some of the training that we do here at ABS.
Yeah, so folks, we teach people not just to do medical billing, but to be a medical revenue manager. That's much more, much larger than just being a medical biller. And in fact, on the next screen there, we're going to show you what the revenue cycle looks like. In other words, you're involved in every aspect of helping that doctor get more revenue to the bottom line. And we go into depth in that in our training. Folks, we're the only company out there that works through an organization like MIRMA, the Medical Revenue Management Association of America, to certify our people so they're not just medical billers, but medical revenue managers. You'll see that more and more out there on the internet. It's a recognized certification that's done through this organization. You'll find out more about that, of course, as you become a licensee, or you can go to mirma.org just to check it out yourself.
Yes, and becoming part of ABS, you automatically become part of MIRMA, and MIRMA is doing some incredible marketing campaigns for our licensees to help you drive business to you, because we do what's called these, MIRMA is doing what's called these done for you webinars. And imagine having an organization just specifically for ABS licensees to do marketing webinar campaigns for you that you're able to hop right on in there from day one, whether you know what you're really doing or not. At least there's someone there helping you with your marketing right off the bat. And what we're doing here is using a cloud-based system that like Patrick says, allows you or your billing company to do billing from really anywhere. You're not tied to an office where you're going to have to be locked in with a specific piece of software that you've had to download to a server, and you can't really do billing outside of that building. Patrick, let's kind of talk about really what's happening here with server-based system.
Yeah, most software companies out there and training companies that are teaching people how to do this type of business for doctors, and there's others besides us, you'll find that they have what's called server-based software. In fact, we're actually showing a screenshot of their, looks like designed in the 1980s software for Windows. It comes on a disk, it installs on your hard drive, and all the data is actually stored there on your hard drive. Eric, I can't think of anything scarier in today's world with all the HIPAA rules and regulations than to have the patient data stored on your computer in your office. If the computer dies or if it's stolen, all that patient data is out there. They also recommend, most companies, that you go out and find what's called a clearinghouse. That's a third-party company that was set up just to receive the electronic claims, reformat it so that they can forward it to the insurance companies and get it paid. In our system, it's a little different. Those insurance companies, of course, are third parties as well. So you got 2 or 3 people involved in trying to get the doctor their money. This is why the rejection rate is 30% or more. In our system, the clearinghouse is actually built into the actual software. So we have, again, cloud-based software, meaning it's in real time. When you push the button to submit a claim through our software, folks, it goes right straight through our clearinghouse, which is built in to the insurance companies.
Exactly. So imagine eliminating all of those other little pieces there and going straight from the software, as you're kind of seeing right here, because we've done a complete webinar on all of that. But imagine going straight from here directly to those insurance companies, and then you're able to talk to those doctors and saying, hey, what we're able to be able to deliver to you are claims being submitted to the same day to the insurance companies, obviously resulting in lower rejection rates and getting those claims paid very quickly. We're talking less than 7 to 14 days in many cases. So
yeah,
that's an incredible turnaround. And a lot of people, go ahead, Patrick.
I was just going to say, so we put more money in the doctor's hands because our rejection rate is, less than 2%, and we get the money even faster to the doctor. We've had licensees bill on Monday, and the money is in the bank account of the doctor on Friday. That's fast.
Yes, absolutely. Norma's got a question here. Will you show us how to solicit for business? Absolutely. I mean, and we kind of don't use the word soliciting. We really more, as you'll see here, it's more educational information. Like right now, again, a hot topic right now is telehealth. And we're actually showing our licensees how to go out there and talk with doctors about telehealth. And obviously that's a big subject right now. So as again, things change and things turn, we're always updating and helping you. And so instead of it seems like we're soliciting business, we're actually providing doctors valuable information. And so when they say, well, where can I get the telehealth? You go, well, that's part of what we do. I mean, that's just, we're here to help you with that. Would you like to set up a demo? And the doctor's going, of course, yeah, I'd like to see what you got here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Basically, if you'd like to know our secret after 26 years, we figured out that there is a way to get through the office manager, the gatekeeper, we call her or him, to the doctor themselves and be introduced to the doctor by some partners that are in your community. We'll show you how to contact those people, how to get them to introduce you to the doctor. There's wonderful ways to market to these doctors way beyond what most people think about. So Norma, that's an entire session, several sessions in our online training that we do to teach people how to do this business. Yeah, without a client, you're not in business. So we're going to help you get that first client.
Yeah.
David says, would we do the medical billing work ourselves? What resources do we get to help us? David, the wonderful thing is being a part of our nationwide network. We have licensees that could help you with your billing initially, if that's what you need, and then turn it over to you when you're ready to take it over and when you've learned enough about it to know how to do it. Now, we do have licensees that just jump right in, of course. They learn through our online training videos and so forth how to do the billing, and they'll do that themselves. But somewhere down the line, most of them get tired of doing it themselves, and they'll hire somebody for $12, $15 an hour to do this, the actual billing, and they just focus on running their business, dealing with the doctors, and adding new clients as they need them.
And one more question we'll take here, and then we'll kind of keep moving on. RF is asking 6% of the bill amount or what's allowable. For some people, you may not know the difference between what's the billed amount and what's the actual reimbursed or what's allowed amount. And so for those that I'm just going to make it simple. So let's say you go to the doctor today, the doctor bills the insurance company for $150. The allowable amount that insurance might be paying that doctor might be $100, because a part of that is the patient's copay. So, and then there may be some deductions from there, depending upon what some of those deductions are. So to answer your question, and for the rest of you, what you'd be doing is charging the 6% of what's allowable or what's actually reimbursed instead of what's being billed for the billed amount. So that's the way it is across the board. It's the way it's been for a long time. So that's that hopefully that helps you out there. But again, Patrick, getting back to our software is designed for a desktop. So because there's nothing to load on the computers or tablets or anything else. It's just you log in through a web browser.
Yeah, it's just like if you go to your bank and you're doing online banking, you would just do that right through the browser on your website, on your computer. That's how our software works, folks. It was designed originally to work specifically with the iPhone, the iPad, tablets of any kind, and of course it works on any browser, on any type of computer, Windows or Apple computers.
Correct. And there's so many different technology elements within inside of our EHR where there's drawing capabilities, for the doctor to be able to utilize to monitor wound care or whatever else. If instead of using a universal graphic like this of a foot, they might be able to take a picture of the foot and keep that in the EHR record, and then keep seeing maybe the progression of it maybe getting worse or the progression of it getting better. So it's all different types of different things within inside of our software, like the mobile capability where the doctors can, if they're out and about and they want to see, and especially right now, everything is mobile, Patrick. I mean, everything is either telehealth or mobile or something. You wouldn't be able to do this with a server-based software.
No, and there are companies who say, well, they actually have server-based software, but to hide that, they say that you can set up your own cloud. Well, that means you buy another computer, a very high-powered computer, set it in your office, and that's where all the patient data resides for those doctors that you're doing billing for. It still doesn't make any sense because you want that patient data off-site on a HIPAA-compliant system that's backed up nightly and that has redundant servers in different parts of the country under different electric grids, just like ours. That's rare that you find that, Eric, and we just happen to be on the leading edge of that kind of technology. So be very careful about investing with a company that says they have a cloud-based system, but they really don't. It's a fake cloud. Kind of like fake news. There's fake clouds out there.
It's not a genuine cloud. It's a hybrid type of cloud there. So David's also asking, does this work for chiropractors and acupuncturists? It does. Let me kind of put it this way. The software for the billing side of it is designated for medical providers that bill on what's called a CMS 1500 form. That's the normal form. Chiropractors bill on that. Acupuncturists bill on that. Surgeons bill on that. Every medical doctor out there bills on a CMS 1500 form. So as long as that medical provider bills on a 1500 form, then absolutely you can do the billing through there.
Eric, there's somebody here, Sharma, who's saying, can you show the slides while you speak? You guys had the slides up a while ago. I'm not sure what happened there, but Sharma, I think we've been showing the slides the whole time. What happens is sometimes people adjust their screen and they're just seeing me and Eric on the video. The slides are still there. You may have to slide up from the middle there or readjust your screen somewhere to see them, but we're showing the slides right now. I think everybody's seeing them. Hey, let me just ask that question just so we can get some feedback from the audience. Folks, can you just type something in the question box that just says, yes, I see the current slide, which is, well, Eric has switched to e-prescribing. Do you see the e-prescribing? Yeah, okay. Okay, well, Sherman says they got it down. Okay, good.
Okay, perfect, great. Let's see, Norma says, thank you on the educational information, got it. Marie's asking, do you charge separate fees for ERAs and EFTs? No, the ERAs actually come into the system for billing. The EFTs, which is the electronic funds transfer, that's all a part of the, again, another acronym, EDIs, the electronic data interface information. So I don't want to get too far into the weeds for a lot of people who may not know what we're talking about, Marie, but yeah, all of that's included. So there's not a whole lot to be too concerned about it. But again, kind of getting back to the slide here, there is e-prescribing. You know, it's funny now that, Patrick, we've been dealing with our EMR system for 10 years now at least, and people still ask, does your EMR system do e-prescribing? And it was doing e-prescribing 10 years ago.
Yeah, and that just means, folks, that while the doctor is seeing the patient, they can push a button on their tablet or iPad and actually send the prescription directly to their drugstore. Most drugstores, of course, now are taking e-prescriptions. They don't have to fax something over on a fax machine. What is a fax machine, Eric? Do people still use those?
Yeah.
Seems antiquated now. Hey, there's a great question here from Catherine. Since we can't go out and solicit the doctors now because of social distancing, how do we get our first doctor? Catherine, let me tell you how optimistic I am about what's going on right now. I think by the end of April, at the latest, that we will be going back to normal. I don't think we're going to just be social distancing forever. However, as I said earlier, we already have social distancing marketing that we're teaching our licensees right now. Now, again, on this webinar, we don't have time to go into detail about that, but we teach about a dozen different ways to market, and 3 or 4 of those now are on digital marketing. Using digital marketing, we have an electronic automatic follow-up system for doctors to follow up with them and to make contact with them. So believe me, we've thought all that through, and I think in 30 days, we're all going to kind of be back out and ready to get back to normal here in the United States. I mean,
I went ahead and jumped to that slide there because I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk about that, because again, that's what I think a lot of people are thinking about. How am I going to reach out to doctors right now? I think this is a good enough time for us to talk about the auto card system. I mean, we've got about 20 more minutes left anyway of the webinar. So let's just kind of jump over to here. Why don't you tell them about how this actually works, and we can talk about some of the other things that go right along with it.
Yeah, so folks, for all of our services that you can offer to doctors, we've already designed cards. Now, this is hard to explain to people because they're thinking that these are e-cards, right? Electronic cards, because people are used to sending electronic cards. Well, folks, these are printed cards. They literally are postcards and greeting cards that you can design online and change it any way you want to. Here's a couple of them that we've designed as part of our pre-built campaigns that we give to you as a licensee. So this is an online system, but when you click and tell you the system you want to send one of these cards to a doctor, it goes in the mail. Yes, they get a card in the mail. And folks, that's kind of unusual nowadays, and people pay attention to that because they're not used to it.
Right. So, Catherine, it's a great question. We kind of jumped ahead on some of the other things that we're going to be talking about here, but we're trying to help you with your questions as they sort of come in here, and kind of going back to where I kind of left off there. You can see that we've got built-in campaigns already for e-visits, and our EMR system, folks, since 10 years ago has already been doing e-visits, Patrick, and we're even expanding that out from there. So there is a ton of ways that we're getting you actually in front of doctors even with the social distancing going on.
Well, and even Medicare has recognized that doctors should be able to do e-visits like this. Now, not for every visit, of course, but for a lot of patients, they can just see them using video and audio and chat. And we've had that, like you said, built into our system for 10 years now, Eric. So we're way ahead of the curve on this. But Medicare has approved those visits so that the doctors now can get paid for most visits that would be an in-house visit. Now they can bill for them, even though it's an e-visit like this.
Absolutely. Brock's got a great question. I think it's a must question to ask. If someone were to launch into this business right now, what are the realistic prospects of visiting doctors during this pandemic? I'm going to answer that, and then let's have a little discussion about that, Patrick. Folks, again, through the telehealth platform that we have with our EMRX and then with some other things that we've got going on, I was actually invited to a doctor's office yesterday, and I got in there without me even thinking. I mean, they actually called me to say, can you come by the office and help us get our telehealth platform up and running? And obviously, while you're there, guess what? There's no other patients in the office. You talk about a great opportunity. Start talking to them about everything else that you have. You got a captive audience.
We're hearing from licensees. Oh, am I muted?
No, no, I hear you.
But we're hearing from licensees on a regular basis during this whole weird time that we're in right now. the same thing is happening, Eric. There are not many patients going to the doctor's office, and so they're able to get in and see the doctor when they might not otherwise. Now, it doesn't mean you have to, folks, because again, we've got 3 or 4 different digital marketing methods that we teach the licensees now to get in contact with doctors. And once you've started that, look, I'll just put it this way, Brock, if you started our training today, by the time you've gotten through the training, it'll be 30 days or so, probably on average, this thing will be blown over. You'll be then able to go out, and everybody will be thrilled to go out and start marketing again like they have in the past.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. I think you're going to find, number one, everybody that's on the call today, including even Patrick and me, we're actually getting ready to. We can't wait for everything to lift so we can go back out and do something. So
Yeah.
imagine what's going to happen here. So imagine if you took the next, 2 weeks, 3 weeks just to get yourself trained during this, everybody's staying in the home right now. You've got an incredible opportunity to get your training in and behind you so that whenever it lifts, I really believe that we're going to see our economy come back strong and stronger, like we've never seen it before. And because everybody is ready to go back to work. That's why when people are asking Patrick or me or Adam or Jason or anybody else here, folks, it's going to be like a pulling a rubber band here, and it's just waiting for it to be launched. And so you're going to find many opportunities, and there's opportunities right now as we're teaching our licensees how to do social network marketing online via their LinkedIn account, their Facebook account. We're doing our done for you webinars for our licensees. We're doing demos for our licensees all online, just like what we're doing right now with you. So we've been moving towards online talking with doctors and doing demonstrations for our licensees for doctors and doing webinars for them for their doctors as part of their marketing. We were moving towards that even before the pandemic even occurred.
Yeah, and Eric, even that send out card, campaign card that we just showed earlier, there's some of them illustrated on that slide there. Those cards are, of course, not a personal contact with a doctor. They're done through the mail. Now, there's also email campaigns that we have designed that do the same thing. So there's lots of ways out there, Brock, that you don't have to see the doctors personally. But again, here's what people should be thinking about, Eric. Right now is when you should be examining where you're at in life.
Yeah.
Do you have a backup plan? The only way that you're going to be feeling really secure in any world that we live in is having your own business. And one that's in healthcare is pretty solid. It's 20% of our entire economy. And as long as there's human beings that get sick, like I said earlier, then there'll always be somebody needed to help the doctor get paid from the insurance company. So folks, you got all the time in the world. Why wouldn't you start our online training course tomorrow and get this training out of the way and get your business up and running while you have this time on your hands?
Let's think logically here, folks, and this is in no way downplaying anything of what's happening in certain parts of the country. But if you think about it, folks, whether you're in New Orleans or New York or California or Washington, where the pandemic has really exploded there, guess who are the busiest people right now? Doctors, nurse practitioners, and in those specific areas. Guess what? Those billing companies that are working for those doctors are on overdrive right now.
Yeah.
And imagine that you were one of those medical billing companies that was helping out those doctors. You would feel a part of the solution to what's really going on. And so be thinking ahead of the time. So, a position in healthcare finance is really what this is all about. And so be thinking about, if this is what you're looking at trying to get involved with, You know, we're here to help you, coach you, educate you, help you with your marketing, and give these doctors that are maybe even on overload right now or struggling trying to figure out how they're going to keep the lights on in the next couple of months. We're going to show them ways right now what we can do to help them improve their reimbursements or getting even them prepared when, again, the onslaught that it gets back open. I think you're gonna find doctors right now even more open to listening to you right now than ever before anyway.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Eric, I have not seen this many questions in a long time, so we got a little squeezing in here to do. Hopefully, we can get most of our slides covered, but I just want to try to answer as many questions as we can, even if we go over time today. Is that okay?
That's okay with me.
All right.
So do you want to look over some of the questions there?
Yeah. Anthony says, are most doctors set up for billing and coding through their hospital networks? Anthony, that just depends on the doctor, of course. There are doctors who are hospitalists who go and visit patients in the hospital, but they do their own billing. We know that personally, don't we, Eric? There's also people who, again, the doctors that are working for the hospitals that are independent doctors, but they actually just work there to see patients for the hospital. Some of them have the billing done by the hospital, some of them don't. It just depends. But your target market for our licensees are the private doctors that are out there in private practice, which there's so many of those, Eric, it's just hard to imagine in any given area. Every specialty that you can Google, medical specialty, is somebody that you can do the billing for. So it's not just your, you know, what we would call family doctors. It's not primary doctors. It's all the specialties that are out there.
Specialties. Yep, absolutely. Marie's asking, does the system work for EMS? And yes, absolutely. There's actually a part of the iClaim practice management billing side of it where it does talk about ambulance, you know, from the time that their patient's picked up to the time that they're delivered, and the miles and the time and everything else that goes along with that. So it absolutely does.
There's somebody asking here, Eric, about the amount of the investment. Folks, we don't try to sell you anything on this webinar. That's why we haven't mentioned the price of our training and support package. But I want to encourage you to go to our website. It's down at the bottom of this slide and every slide, absystems.com. And there's a tab at the very top that says, what is the investment? It will go into detail on the investment and how much it is. That's just because we don't try to make these webinars anything but content and education for people who come to them. Same way about the other question this person has, how does this system work? Well, again, it's better that you go and watch the webinar, the little video there on our website. And Eric, we should probably put up somewhere on the screen or in the chat box there our YouTube channel, because folks, we have webinars that we've done over the past 7 or 8 years that cover in detail about how the system works. And we even show demos of the system out there. So it's youtube.com/whyabs. We'll put that in the chat box there.
You bet. Patrick, I'm going to jump forward a little bit and give you some time to talk about the book, and why you kind of talk about the book. I think it's important because, again, this is something that can actually be physically mailed. I don't know if it was you who did this or not, but there is a marketing technique called lumpy mail. If you want to kind of talk about that, I think this is a great opportunity for people to understand, you know, some of the tips and secrets that we have about what's going to make a doctor open up a piece of mail here.
Yeah, Eric, can you stop showing the slide there just for a second so that our videos go kind of full screen? I'm going to show this so that people can see the actual book that I have here on my shelf. And you'll see at the bottom there that it says that there's a foreword by Susan Smith, CMRM. Well, that's the designation that you're certified when you go through our training, Certified Medical Revenue Manager. That can be your name instead of Susan Smith's, because we have a generic foreword that you can put your name at the end of the foreword. So look at this, here it is. This is the contact information for Susan Smith. Your name and your contact information is printed right in the book. Now, this book is on Amazon for $24.95 for doctors who wanted to buy it. But you will be able to buy these with your name printed on the cover and on the inside for about $4 a copy. That's our actual printing cost on these books in small quantities even. So Eric, this is probably the most ingenious marketing idea that you've ever come up with. This is the thing that helps licensees more than anything out there to have their, because folks, here's what it does. It gives you huge credibility with the doctor. Not that you're a co-author, your name is just there as the forward, but it ties you in with Dr. Vicki Rackner, who actually wrote the book with me. And so there's your name right on the cover with a doctor. You talk about a great marketing tool, it doesn't get any better than this.
It does. And folks, we're just showing you highlights of, how we get you in front of the doctor, how we get them engaged with you, whether it's through our technology services that we have that nobody else has. We have teamed up with some of the greatest companies out there that help us with our technology that it blows everything out of the water whenever it comes down to services needed for the doctor. I'm going to put this one slide back up over here again, kind of describing all the different services that you will actually have at your disposal, which is everything from coding to helping the doctor collect on old accounts receivables, HIPAA, document storage, virtual document storage. Patrick's already kind of talked to you about the auto card. And what you're looking at here are all the marketing pieces that you actually get here with us here at ABS.
Yeah, and folks, we've spent thousands of dollars, of course, developing these marketing tools. They're printed full color on slick paper. As you can see, they all have a common look to them. Even though this isn't a franchise, you will look like you're a part of something that's large, and you are the nation's largest network of independent medical revenue managers. So when you go out and market with our materials, you'll look like you are a part of something that's larger than just somebody who printed this on their inkjet printer working out of their spare bedroom. I mean, you may work out of your spare bedroom, but nobody needs to know that.
Right. Stacy's asking a question here. I'm certified in CBCS and studying for the CPC. Folks, what that means is that she knows how to code. She's asking, what advice can we provide when providers are not current with their AR and they use two different systems, a practice management and a clinical system? Obviously, Stacy, you're already involved in healthcare to some degree. You kind of know some of what's going on here. That's why we're showing this to you, because again, if the doctors are behind on their AR, we got solutions for that. If they need a different practice management system, again, we've got that. And the great thing about it is, Stacy, we can demonstrate it for you on behalf of you and your company through here. So even though you may not be up to speed with the technology or how to do the demos yourself, Patrick, we do those demos for our licensees. And actually, I'm gonna switch over to that slide so everybody can kind of see what we're talking about there when we talk about doing demos of the system.
Yeah, this is one of the ways we help you to enroll the doctor, is by answering all the doctor's questions on a live demo. So again, on our licensee support site that you'll have access to, you can go in and set up the demo with the doctor online, requesting a time or a couple of times that you could be there, and he could be there or she could be there. And you can be on there along with them, watching the demo, listening to what we're saying to them. We have people who's dedicated full time to helping our licensees do these demos. Eric, we're closing, by the way, about half of all the people, the doctors that get on these demos. So very important, cool way to get doctors engaged with our licensees to see the advantages of using our system.
Absolutely. Patrick, before we get to the top of the hour, there may be some folks that have to leave at the top of the hour. So let's kind of, I'm going to jump to the end of our slides so that you can kind of do a quick wrap up. Yeah, and then you and I can stay on as long as we need to answer some of the questions. So I'll focus on our closing slides here.
That sounds like a great idea. Folks, we do these webinars every Wednesday Central Time, 4 o'clock Central Time, and we invite you to be on as many of these as you want. We've had people on these for, what, Eric, up to 2 years before they decided that this was the right business for them, or that they got their funds together to be able to invest in it. There's a lot of research that you can do. Here's some steps that you can take, for example, to get involved. If you're interested in this business, folks, number one is request our downloadable research guide. Now, the way you do that is you get back with the person who invited you to this webinar. That person is one of our people here in the office called our business development reps, and they can give you a copy of that. It's a 50-page document that goes in detail. There's the table of contents, for example, and there's lots of other things in here that you would need to know to really do your due diligence about this industry. If you do that and you see that guide and you're still interested, then you'll want to go on to the next step. The next step is you'll want to be sure and ask for our YouTube channel. I think that's the next slide, Eric, for the steps.
Yep, I'm trying to get to those real quickly. Give me just 1 second because it's got some of these things that are coming up in animation. So I'm going to get to that one real quickly, and we'll get there right
Hey,
now.
Meanwhile, there's a question here that was asked by Marie.
Here we go.
Let me see if I can switch to my my computer here, and I'm going to show this one document, Eric, and then you can take it back. She's asking, what is the training? How long is the training? And what does it entail? This is it. You're looking at our online training outline right here. Currently, of course, it's subject to change because we're always updating it, but there are 8 modules where we go into all the details that you see here. This is a very detailed training, folks, and it's done online with you and our trained instructors, our certified instructors. That person will go through with you. Each one of these modules will last an hour to an hour and a half. So there's probably 12 to 15 hours of training that you'll go through, and that's on your schedule. So do you want to go through it all in a couple of weeks? I guess you could. Be a lot of training, but normally people take about a month to go through the training. You can go through it as fast or as slow as you want to, in other words. Okay, Eric, that was it. Can you take that back?
I can, yep.
All right.
Just see if I can get it back over here real quickly.
And so let's see, Arif said how long is the training? Again, we can have you starting on the training, folks, probably within a week. Now, I say that because this is a pretty heavy time where a lot of people are wanting to get started in the training. It just happens to be, I guess, a good time for them to go through it. So those spots are very, very scarce right now. But as soon as you get your due diligence done, you can start that training, and we'll work with your schedule. It's done one-on-one with trainers. Now, we also want to have you browse that YouTube channel. That channel, folks, has dozens of different documents on there, videos that we've created in the past, including interviews that I've done with some of our licensees. Eric, there's over 100 now out there that I've done with our licensees, telling how they started their business and so forth. So just watch as many of those as you want, folks. You can spend as much time there as you wish. The third step is to ask your ABS rep for an owner reference list. It kind of looks like this, although now, Eric, I think it's 2 or 3 pages, but it will have the names and contact information, phone numbers, and emails of people who've gone through our training who are willing to take a call and talk with you about that. Then step number 4 is to ask for a live demo, like Eric mentioned earlier. You'll want to see that live demo yourself, and we'll take whatever time you need one-on-one with you using GoToMeeting, showing you exactly what our system is all about and answering all of your questions. That one-on-one demo, by the way, is done with you using GoToMeeting electronically, and we'll schedule that around whatever time slot you have available to see that. Then the last step, of course, is just ask for the purchase agreement and the funding instructions, and we'll go into detail with you on that and can go over it with you. It's only about 3 pages long, I think, maybe 4. So you'll just want to see that. There it is, 4 pages. It's a real simple agreement between us and you, and telling you, you know, what this business is all about. And then you get your funding done. Now, again, the training is done one-on-one, as I said earlier, with each one of you and our trained instructors.
And then talk about the 100% money back guarantee, and then we'll kind of get back to some questions here.
Yeah, folks, I came up with this a few years back and said to everybody, look, if we have what we say we have, then let's just give people their money back if they don't think it's what we told them it was going to be. And I don't know how to be any more upfront about that. People ask me all the time, how do you stay in business? Well, it's because we do have something that's really pretty good. And there's been a handful of people over the last 26 years to ask for their money back. But believe me, folks, it doesn't happen often, or we couldn't stay in business. We know what we have, and we're willing to give you all of your money back within the first 30 days if for some reason you don't think that what we told you the business was all about, for any reason, 100% of your money back. So pretty cool.
Yep.
Eric, this is the training material, including the presentation folders, the flyers, the books, the postcards. But folks, there's much more to it that we can't illustrate here in a slide, that have to do with how we can help you get clients. Remember, that is the key in this business, is how do you get past the gatekeeper? How do you get to the doctor? How do you engage the doctor? How do you educate the doctor enough to where they want to do business with you? And we do that on a regular basis. We have licensees signing up doctors on a regular basis. So, okay. So anyway, that's that. Now let's see. There's another question here, Eric, from Boris. Not sure exactly what he's asking there. Can you read that question and see if that's something you could answer?
Yeah, do you provide additional licensees if we wanted to set up a facility as a satellite, for example, a nursing home that has someone that does the billing in-house but wants to use the software? Yeah, that's a big question there, Boris. I mean, obviously, whenever you get set up, if you end up doing nursing home billing and you've got a lot of things going on, if you need additional help and you need some help with that, obviously we can see what we can do to accommodate you with you on that. But you know, obviously we've got licensees helping one another, whether it's with setup, whether it's with implementation, whether it's with maybe some additional billing help on the back end. There's a lot of things there that we can certainly help you. I mean, Patrick, I think most answers that we have to when people say, hey, can you do this? The answer is usually yes, but Boris, it always has a fee with it. So just understand that if there is something that is outside of the scope and you need some extra help, understand if we've got to bring in other licensees, those people have got to share in the revenues there too as well. So, but we can show you how to do it with licensees, without licensees. There's many different things that we can help you out with.
Right. Oh, Marie answered, wow, I'm impressed with the training. Good, thank you. Norma says, thank you. I will see you on 4/8. So she plans to be here next week on this webinar. That's great, thank you. Let's see, what is that from Marie? Are you a match up with a coach for questions? If so, for how long? Marie, we actually do match you up with licensees who have, again, gone through our certified training and have been certified as coaches for other new people like yourself. And you can connect with those people basically as long as you need to help you get all the questions answered that you need to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And our support team has just grown, and it is growing on the back end, because again, the better that we can support our licensees, it helps you trying to make a decision, is this the right company to go with? That's why we encourage you to talk with some of our current ABS licensees, so you can talk to them pretty openly about what we're doing, how we're increasing all the services and the support that go along with those.
Yeah, David's asking if we have any fees to do this. Now, David, I'm not sure what you're asking there. There is an upfront licensing fee. It's kind of like a franchise fee that you pay, which you'll see there on our website. But ongoing, you don't have to pay ABS anything. We don't charge for software updates, code updates, training, support. It's lifetime support, so there's no annual support fees or anything like that. That's all inclusive in our licensing, our one-time licensing fee. So Eric, thanks for putting that last slide up. That has our phone number at the bottom, folks. If you want to call, if you want to ask who your ABS rep is, if you're not sure, or any other questions you want to ask, just dial the phone right now. We've got people waiting, operators waiting to take your calls.
That was the fastest hour I think I can remember in a long time. This last hour went by fast. Well, thank you, Patrick. Yeah, we had a lot of content to have to deliver, and we didn't get through, I bet you, half of all of our slides there. So folks, come back next Wednesday. We'd love to be able to visit with you. But don't wait till next Wednesday. Do call 866-565-8413 and chat with one of your business reps that will certainly help you out here from here on out.
Yeah, folks, we've helped hundreds of people over the years to get into this business and be successful at it, and we hope that you're the next person. So just let us know what we can do to help you and answer your questions. Thanks again, Eric, for putting this together. See you next week.
Absolutely. See you then. Bye-bye.